Let's get started with our first news. Eric Nixick shares his expert breakdown on how Alex Pereira can defeat Magomed Ankalaev this weekend. This highly anticipated light heavyweight showdown has fans buzzing, and Nixick believes Pereira must execute a smart and disciplined game plan to come out on top. According to Nixick, one of the key factors for Pereira is maintaining control of the distance. Pereira is known for his world-class striking, and the best way to maximize his effectiveness is by dictating the range of engagement. If he allows Ankalaev to close the distance too easily, he risks being taken down and controlled on the ground. Instead, Pereira must stand his ground and establish dominance in the center of the octagon. Maintain striking distance. That's going to be huge. Plant a flag in the center of the octagon and own your geography. Do not get your back up against that cage. Don't let your heels touch that black line, because that's where takedown issues will start happening. Ankalaev does such a good job with his grappling, Dagestani-style wrist rides, Turks, killing the bottom leg. It's going to be a tough task for Alex to stand up if he gets taken down. Having that real estate and being able to move is going to be very important. Another crucial element is Pereira's ability to counter-wrestle. Ankalaev is a patient fighter, waiting for the right opportunity to level change and shoot for a takedown. If Pereira isn't prepared to defend beyond the initial attempt, he'll be in trouble. Counter wrestle with sprawls. A big thing is, when you disengage from the wrestling, be ready to wrestle 3 seconds longer. There's a reshot, there's a re-wrestle. Do not think the wrestling exchange is over. Once you disconnect, redirect. Make him move in a different direction before getting back into the striking. And when you do that, you gotta make him pay. You can't just let Ankalaev in for free. If he puts his hand in the cookie jar, slap it. Otherwise, he'll keep coming back. Ilia Nixick stresses the importance of attacking Ankalaev's body and legs early. Ankalaev is durable and methodical, but if Pereira can slow him down with well-placed shots, it could change the fight. And my last point, target the body early. Alex Pereira has to start flattening the tires. Hit the body. This is a 5-round fight. Invest in the body, invest in the legs. It's going to be very important for him. If Pereira follows this plan, he'll have the best shot at victory. Moving on to the next news, could Ilia Topuria retire after a fight with Islam Makhachev? John Anik reacts. UFC analysts John Anik and Kenny Florian recently discussed Ilia Topuria's future, speculating that his potential move to lightweight could be his last major career step. According to them, Topuria's decision to leave the featherweight division is largely driven by the lack of compelling challenges left at 145 pounds. Kenny Florian suggests that if the division still had bigger names like Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski actively competing at the top, El Matador would have more reason to stay. However, since Topuria has already beaten the 2 biggest names in featherweight history, he may feel there's nothing left to accomplish at 145. Florian also brings up a key factor that often dictates fighters' decisions: money. Financial incentives play a massive role in shaping a fighter's career path. If Topuria had high-profile money-making fights available at featherweight, he might have considered defending his title multiple times. However, a fight against someone like Diego Lopes, while still highly dangerous, wouldn't generate the kind of payday Topuria is looking for. The risk-to-reward ratio simply isn't favorable at featherweight anymore. This is why moving to 155 pounds makes complete sense for Ilia. If he were to lose against a lightweight legend or an all-time great like Islam Makhachev, his reputation wouldn't take much damage. He could easily move back down to featherweight with his legacy intact. But if he wins at lightweight and captures a second championship, his status in the sport would skyrocket. According to Florian, Ilia's plan is straightforward: secure a few high-profile fights, win a title at lightweight, and then walk away from the sport as a legend. Florian highlights just how high Topuria has set the bar, especially after his stunning knockout of Max Holloway. No one in UFC history had ever finished Holloway before, making Topuria's performance one of the most iconic moments in recent memory. Trying to surpass that accomplishment at featherweight would be incredibly difficult, further reinforcing why a move to lightweight is the logical next step. If he had another 1 or 2 guys like Max Holloway and Volkanovski at 145, I think he stays. I think he feels he has nothing left to prove at 145. He already beat the two most accomplished names in the sport. What else is there to do? Money is a great motivator. If there were more money fights at 145, I think he'd stay, but there isn't. And there's just as much risk fighting someone like Diego Lopes. So he thinks, if I go up to 155 and lose to a legend, I lose nothing. I can always go back to 145. I want a belt at 155, and then I'm out. He's just looking for the fastest track to becoming an absolute legend. With this mindset, Ilia Topuria is positioning himself for one of the most exciting career moves in recent UFC history. Will he make the leap to lightweight and challenge Islam Makhachev? And if he does, will it be his final fight before retirement? Fans will be watching closely. Now, let's move on to another highly anticipated fight. Jamahal Hill has made his pick for UFC 313's main event, and it might surprise some fans. The former UFC light heavyweight champion, who has had his fair share of rivalries and disagreements with both fighters, is keeping a close watch on this showdown between Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira. Despite any past tensions, Hill is focused purely on the fighting styles and has made a strong case for why he believes Ankalaev will emerge victorious over Pereira. Speaking on his War Council podcast, Hill broke down his thoughts and ultimately chose Ankalaev as the fighter with the greater arsenal of skills to get the job done. Hill acknowledged that this may not be the most popular pick, especially among fans of Pereira, but he's standing by his analysis. I know I'm gonna get hate for this, but I get hate anyway. I'm probably gonna go with Magomed. I just got a feeling. I feel he has more tools to win. Obviously, Alex has that one-hit wonder. If he catches you, he can put you away. But I believe Magomed also has that. Hill highlighted that while Pereira is widely regarded as one of the most devastating strikers in the UFC, Ankalaev is no slouch when it comes to stand-up exchanges. Ankalaev has speed, patience, and a calculated counter-striking approach that could neutralize Pereira's aggressive offense. Moreover, Hill pointed out that Ankalaev has already been in high-pressure championship fights, and the experience of having let a title opportunity slip through his hands once before will likely make him even more determined to seize this moment. He has speed, he has patience, he has the counter, he's been in this position before, and he let the title slip out of his hands once. But this time, I believe he's going to be locked in, he's going to be focused, and ultimately, he just has more ways to win. I'm going with Ankalaev. Hill's analysis suggests that Ankalaev's well-rounded game, experience, and ability to adapt will be key factors in securing the win. Whether or not fans agree, this main event is shaping up to be one of the most explosive matchups in recent UFC history. Matt Brown sets the record straight on his comments about Ilia Topuria. When Ilia Topuria announced his move to the lightweight division, he cited the difficulty of making the 145-pound limit as one of the biggest reasons behind his decision. While many fans and analysts understood his reasoning, former UFC fighter Matt Brown shared his thoughts on the situation, but his comments quickly sparked some controversy. Speaking on the Fighter vs. the Writer podcast, Brown discussed Topuria's weight-cutting struggles and made a lighthearted joke about Ilia's well-documented love for wine. Brown, who has been around the sport for decades, was surprised that Topuria claimed to have such a hard time making weight, considering that he never appeared to be a massive featherweight in comparison to other fighters in the division. That's when he made a remark that got people talking. He wasn't big for 145. I was surprised. He said he had a hard time making weight. I mean, I've always seen him on TV. I haven't seen him in person, but I wonder, like, does he drink wine when he cuts weight? Like, maybe that's why you're not making weight, buddy. Stop drinking wine. Drink some water, bro. While the comment was clearly meant as a joke, some fans took issue with it, believing that Brown was criticizing Topuria unfairly. After receiving backlash online, Brown decided to clarify his stance and make sure people understood his real point. Okay, lots of hate for this little quote. I know he's never missed weight. He's an amazing champion, better than I ever was. So I'm not trying to put him down. But listen, alcohol is obviously not good during a weight cut, and it's likely making it harder to make weight. That's why he wants to move up. I just said maybe don't drink during a weight cut. Crazy idea, right? With that, Brown made it clear that he respects Topuria's skills and accomplishments, but still stands by his belief that staying away from alcohol while cutting weight would only help fighters make the process easier. Regardless of the debate, Topuria is now heading to 155 pounds, where fans are eager to see how he performs in a division stacked with elite talent. Belal Muhammad predicts Ankalaev to defeat Alex Pereira. As UFC 313's highly anticipated main event approaches, top welterweight contender Belal Muhammad has weighed in on the matchup, making his pick for Magomed Ankalaev to emerge victorious over Alex Pereira. While many analysts believe wrestling is the key to beating Pereira, Belal takes it a step further by reminding everyone of a crucial fact. Every single fighter who has attempted a takedown on Pereira has succeeded. Breaking down the fight, Belal points out that Pereira's takedown defense has always been a vulnerability. While the Brazilian has improved his grappling, he has yet to face a wrestler of Ankalaev's caliber. The Dagestani fighter possesses a strong clinch game, excellent chain wrestling, and a suffocating top control. However, Muhammad notes that Ankalaev is not primarily a grappler. He is a counter striker. If I'm Ankalaev, I know I'm the best wrestler Pereira has ever faced. But the thing is, Ankalaev is not primarily a grappler. He's a counter striker. If he goes strike for strike with Pereira, he's playing into his game. That's dangerous. But if Ankalaev puts his ego aside and wrestles from the start, he has a clear path to victory. Belal warns that if Ankalaev allows his pride to dictate his strategy and chooses to stand and trade with Pereira, he is taking an unnecessary risk. Pereira, known for his devastating left hook and pinpoint accuracy, thrives in high-level striking battles. One clean shot from him can end the fight in an instant. However, if Ankalaev makes the smart decision to wrestle from the opening bell, Muhammad believes that the fight could become one-sided in his favor. With elite-level ground control and a well-rounded skill set, Ankalaev has a legitimate chance to neutralize Pereira's striking and dominate the fight. As UFC 313 draws closer, the big question remains: will Ankalaev stick to a disciplined wrestling-heavy game plan, or will he test his striking against one of the most dangerous kickboxers in the sport? Movsar Evloev calls out Ilia Topuria for mentioning Dagestan. Rising UFC featherweight contender Movsar Evloev is making it clear he is not letting Ilia Topuria out of his sights, regardless of weight class. After Topuria made comments about Dagestan and Georgia, Evloev wasted no time in responding, calling out the featherweight champion for stirring up unnecessary controversy. "I don't like this talk about Dagestan versus Georgia. It's not good for the fans, but if he wants to run his mouth, he's not hard to find." Evloev, an undefeated fighter with an elite wrestling background, has been vocal about wanting to fight Topuria for years. With Ilia's recent move to lightweight, some fans wondered if the long-anticipated clash between these two undefeated featherweights would ever happen. But Evloev is making it clear he is still hunting for that fight. The rivalry between Topuria and Dagestani fighters has been brewing for quite some time. Ilia has openly taken shots at Dagestani wrestlers, insisting that their style does not intimidate him. He has repeatedly claimed that he would dominate any wrestler regardless of their background. However, Evloev, who has one of the strongest grappling skill sets in the division, is eager to prove him wrong. Many fans believe that if Topuria ever returns to 145, a showdown with Evloev would be one of the biggest fights in the division's history. Both men are undefeated, both have strong grappling abilities, and both are hungry to prove themselves as the best featherweight in the world. For now, Topuria's focus remains on his lightweight ambitions, but Evloev is keeping the pressure on. If Ilia ever decides to return to featherweight, there's no doubt that Evloev will be waiting for him. And there you have it, some of the biggest fights and boldest predictions coming up in the UFC. Now, it's time for you to weigh in. Who are you picking to win?